One person that's inspired me a lot is BizPath. If you go to his YouTube channel, you can kind of see how. But he was one of the people that created the turning point of me actually starting to record myself and post videos to YouTube. But one thing he stated in one of his videos was that he's made a good chunk of money from his business and he's getting older, so now he's starting to focus a bit more on investing in the market and developing cash flow from that. Kind of like how it takes money to make money, you can still make good money in the markets without having a lot of money, and it's never a bad idea to invest into the stock market. But honestly, for most people, it's more efficient to go hard in the paint on your business or yourself, right? And generate money that way, and then use that money once you get it to invest into the markets afterward. And invest in yourself. Wow, I know everyone talks about it, but it's actually not a bad idea. And this is something Alex Hormozy talks about a lot if you watch him. But he's a very big believer of investing in yourself. And an example he gives a lot is becoming a phlebotomist, right? So you can spend $250 to get certified. You can do it over the weekend and then immediately become a phlebotomist and make $20-$25 an hour, something like that. I'm not sure the exact stats. Those are just what he gave. But even if those stats aren't accurate, it doesn't really matter. It's just kind of an example. But circling back to what I was saying earlier, if you do the math on that, the return would be much, much higher than if you invested the same 250 into the S&P 500. Again, despite that not inherently being a bad thing. Now that I've gotten that out of the way, let's talk about some side hustles. I've tried to keep these to ideas that either aren't incredibly difficult or expensive, or that I've had some experience with in my own life. Side hustle number one is editing. Whether you're editing short or long form content, there's a marketplace for editors, and it's honestly growing all the time. There are literally more people creating content every single day. And my channel is a prime example of this. But a lot of people are trying to outsource their editing as soon as they can to save themselves some time. I'll say it right now, you're most likely not going to make a lot of money editing. But on the bright side, it's something you can do for relatively cheap, and at the most basic level, you don't need a degree or any type of certification at all. You really just need the software itself. In my case, it's Premiere Pro, which I believe is around $20-$25 a month. And after that, it's basically just time. You can find a lot of information and tutorials on YouTube. And once you've spent a bit of time learning, you can go on Fiverr or Upwork and charge like 20 to 30 bucks for a long form video. Just one video pays for your monthly expenses for the program you're using, right? That's cool. Everything after that is pure profit. What's really nice about editing is you can do it somewhat on your own time, and you really don't have to deal with too many people. And the ones you have to deal with are usually over a screen, so it's a solid choice for introverts. As you get more used to it and create more and more shortcuts, you can also cut down the time it takes to edit by a very significant margin. Let's assume you have another job, so you can't put a ton of time into videos every single day. Even if you charge 30 bucks a video and make one a week, that's $1,400 at the end of the year. That's a free vacation. And that's also on like the lowest tier. I heard a video by Ali Abdaal where he was talking about how much he paid, and I'm going to assume he has more knowledge about paying editors than I do. But you can kind of scale it up. And right now, I think he pays his editors like $1,300 a video, which is nuts. But, you could also get contracts with people. And I think one time a few years ago, Graham Stephan wanted an editor and he was paying him like $60,000 a year. That's pretty solid. And I know editing can be a pain and it can be a long process, but you might find out you actually like it a lot. I personally have a lot of times where I don't feel like editing, but since I've started doing this, I've made a little handful of videos and I'm very fulfilled at the end. Like it just feels good. I watch it, I'm like, oh my gosh, I just made this. Even though they're like not that great of videos, it's pretty fulfilling to create something. The second side hustle on the list is YouTube. And hear me out, because I know everyone talks about this, and most people who want to start a side hustle don't feel like grinding out YouTube videos. And it honestly may be difficult to make money from YouTube, but there are so many pros that come with it. There really isn't a ceiling to how much you can make. You can do it all on your own time. And depending on the content, you can create a channel completely for free. You can also be as introverted or extroverted as you want to be. And really, with YouTube in general, everything about it is just so freeing. There's so many aspects to it that are just freeing, for lack of a better term. And really, that's what's worth it. And in addition to all of that, it also pairs really well with video editing. So you could create your own content, learn how to edit off of your own content, and then using that knowledge, you can start editing for other people as well. And this is honestly a path that I've been trying to take. I have other channels where I use a little bit more editing techniques than this one, but once I have more time under my belt, I will totally try to edit for other people. And then boom, that's like two side hustles in one, two different streams of income. But the third side hustle on this list is reselling. This one is a classic. You can pretty much resell anything from candy at school to concert tickets, as sad as it is. But specifically, I want to talk about shoes. So there's pretty much always going to be a market for shoes. Everyone either needs shoes or wants shoes. So you're really never going to run out of customers. And I know people personally who have made a ton of money from reselling shoes. But my brother being a prime example, not of being a reseller, but being into shoes. He loves them. He has his own collection. And I've honestly been trying to get him into this so he can make some money while he's young. This is also another one that's pretty much on your own time, and it isn't incredibly difficult to get into, which is what I love. You can make some good money, and you might even learn how to sell, which could translate really well into other life ventures. And it's really not that hard. You can start on Facebook Marketplace and find some local shoes for cheap. And then before you buy it, you can go to the GOAT website or use the GOAT app, look for the shoe, see the cheapest shoe that's sold, and then basically, if you can get that same shoe for cheaper than that, then you've got a shoe you can resell. I'll link someone's video in the description too that goes a lot more in depth than I did. But the last side hustle is cutting hair. Cutting hair can be pretty easy to get into, and it can also be pretty lucrative. All you need, obviously, is the tools and then maybe some kind of cosmetology license. It kind of depends how you go about it. But I have several friends that cut hair, and they all make solid money. I have one friend, he didn't go too crazy with it. He mostly just cut his friend's hair, but he would charge like $10. You know, we'd go to his house, give him $15 because we got to tip him, and he'd give us a quick fade, and that was it. He didn't have to go anywhere. He didn't have to give anybody some of his money to pay for the chair. He was just chilling at his house with his friends, listening to some music. And I'm not really sure the world of women how that works, but with guys, you don't even really need a license. You could just practice on your friends for a little bit, start getting pictures of your work, and then take it to a shop, or you can post it on like Facebook or something and build yourself an online presence and do everything that way. And then you could just cut out of your garage, or you can charge people extra and go to their house to cut. And just another example of how lucrative it can be, I have another buddy that decided to take it a bit further, and he works at barbershops, but he also has a lot of friends that like to get their hair cut by him. And I've seen people tip him anywhere from 50 to straight up $100. When you can make money in tips, the ceiling for what you can make goes up so much. Anyways, this wasn't meant to be a complete how-to video, but just a guide to give you some direction. All of these are fairly easy and cheap enough for most people to be able to do, and you can pretty much figure out all you need to know through YouTube. I hope you got something out of this, and I hope you take action in whatever you may want to do. Good luck.